Norbert's is having a sale. Their February special is the jump half turn mat. Because if you've ever tried to teach children turning in the specific, not the full, but tabs, very helpful. This mat, also vinyl runway tape, because you know how that gets torn up because everyone's running on it and tripping on it, and you have to tape it down. And so you know you always need an extra vinyl runway tape. Go to norberts.com, they're .com now, for a 10% discount on anything with the code GymCastic. That's us. Norberts is also giving away a $50 Norberts gift card that can be used on anything in their online store. No minimum. Just follow Norberts Athletic on Instagram and then comment on the giveaway post. Remember, behind the scenes is TV 14-ish, so you'll definitely hear a naughty word or two. Today, the second Paris Olympic qualifier, part of the four-part World Cup series, is complete. It happened in Germany.
Almost complete, as we're recording.
Almost complete. Yes, there's one more day, but we'll have...
we're getting there.
Points, updates, and shocking twists to report for you so far until tomorrow. Winter Cup is brought to you by Sunisa Lee, making our bars dreams come true, even though they were not successful in the actual competition. But I did get to see 4 completed, fantastic, full twisting Jaegers. So that's what I would like to say about Sunisa Lee. So what are the Olympic team possibilities? Does anything mean anything after Winter Cup? Plus this week's college gymnastics news. It's February 24th, and welcome to GymCastic, the #1 gymnastics podcast in the galaxy. I'm Jessica. I'm here with Spencer from the Balance Beam Situation. I am here live at Winter Cup, reporting an hour after the meet, and Spencer is at home comfortably sending me the scores because I had no access to the scores at all in the arena. So Spencer,
we basically didn't have any access to the scores during the meet too, but they worked now. We have results now, and that's what matters, right?
Oh, good.
All right,
that's good. Really. I was just like, Florida won. That's what happened at this meet.
Basically.
Also,
the Florida coaches made it. They made it for Trinity after last night.
There were many red eyes that happened, and everyone made it. If
they didn't
you
have to take flights. They just rode on the scores from last night's Florida LSU meet. They just lifted them right to Kentucky.
Spencer Barnes, everyone. We record this live right after the meet before we've had the chance to do our full analysis. It's a little off the cuff, without all the deep deep that we do before the regular show. If you missed yesterday's report from podium training, where Suni made everything, check it out. We have a full podcast from yesterday for you guys, Club Gym Nerd members who are listening live and can ask questions live. We have a full episode and some highlights up on Instagram too, including Suni's interview from yesterday. So let's talk overall Winter Cup. What does it mean, Spencer? Okay. What are your thoughts?
What does it mean? Nothing. My overall impression, though, was that everyone was competing at Winter Cup, and then Kayla DiCello was competing at Olympic trials. Like, as someone forgot to tell her this was Winter Cup, and she was like, Olympic trials that we're doing right now, and I'm going to get a 56.85 in the all-around and hit all of my routines at a pretty high and finished level. And everyone else was like, this meet is for playing. And she was like, no, it is not. There's no such thing as playing.
A 56 all around is what she got.
56.8.
Holy shit.
I mean, the scores. This shows
PG-13
scores. I was like,
in case you didn't know, it's PG-13, or sometimes it's.
I reject the question.
Nope, that wasn't it. Remember, behind the scenes is TV 14-ish, so you'll definitely hear a naughty word or two. It's important for me to say that after I say what I just said.
After the fact.
Yeah, after it's live. She looked like it was Olympic trials. She was like, put me on the team.
Like, I'm ready.
I'm ready. Hands are up. We have a question.
Emily asks, do you think Kayla's chances of making the Olympics have skyrocketed? If they were basing it qualitatively on overall impression through the year, I would say they would. If it just ends up being all around scores at Olympic trials, nothing matters until Olympic trials. But for me, I think, as we talked about in our preview for Winter Cup, the biggest thing for DiCello is consistency. And the way she makes her case throughout the process is consistency. And she did exactly like high scores, 14 on every event, no major errors at all, ready to go. She accomplished that. So in my mind, her position is very high right now. Also, a lot of people didn't compete here. Things change week to week. Whether that's actually what ends up being significant, I don't know. But for now, it's the most significant thing that happened at Winter Cup. So it's what we have to work with right now.
For a
Thomas
reminder
says, Kayla
about
was giving 2021 Winter Cup Jordan Childs today. Yeah, when Jordan Childs was like, oh, wait.
Yep. Just for a reminder, so in the all-around scores, Simone in September of 2023, going into Worlds, Simone's high score was 59-1 all around.
Well,
and
Simone.
DiCello got a 56.85 today. So
yeah. So what is the point there? That she's not Simone? Yeah.
No, that she's like way up there. Like,
that she's way. I thought you were like, so yeah, she's multiple points behind Simone. I'm like, yeah.
She's way up in the D. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That's not anyway. You know what I mean. Very high in the D. Okay, so
Susan has our next question that I want to discuss. Unless Jessica, you're feeling too overwhelmed and you need to say something.
Yes, let's get to that question in a second. Let me give you my impressions before we get too many questions.
You need some.
I need to get some things out. Yes.
Yeah.
So my take on this was the revolution is complete. The veterans veteraned, and the kids were like, eeh. And by kids, I mean, 18-year-olds and below, who haven't competed elite for their, like, in all the world championships and other things and trials. I was so impressed with the veterans who did great. And let me tell you, I'm including Suni in that because Suni has only been training for 6 weeks. 6 weeks. 6 weeks. 6 weeks, you guys, which is like the minimum to even get the fitness level to do full routines. The absolute minimum. So, and in podium training, she hit 3 of her full twisting Jaegers. She made her skills, including her mount on beam, which is a layout back handspring, video of it in our YouTube. She, like, from podium training, I was like, okay, she's ready. She can do this. She said today that afterwards, I was super impressed that she even talked to the press. Hello, men's gymnastics. Please take note. The men's gymnastics team. Suni has had these horrible health struggles, 6 weeks of training, came back and competed, fell on her incredible skill that she hit, then fell again because I'm sure her hopes were dashed, was bawling her eyes out, went to beam, didn't do the beam routine she planned, changed it, just did a layout dismount, was like, this sucks, super mad, angry, crying furiously, came to media and did an interview, a full interview, stayed until everyone's questions were answered. Men's gymnastics team, US. This is how you do it. This is how you help people understand your feelings. This is how you grow your sport. Don't ever do what you did in, when was that? Liverpool? Whatever Worlds, the men's team refused to do an interview after they didn't do well. Like, I was so impressed with Suni. And she's an Olympic champion. So if you want to be an Olympic champion men's gymnastics team, maybe try what Suni does. So, I was just so impressed with her.
Did you get any insights from Suni afterward?
Yeah. So she basically said, this wasn't like health related. Like, she said, she and her coach both said, like, her flare-ups are much more predictable. The training is more predictable. Like, they've really gotten much more of a handle on everything with her health, including the fact that they don't trust food from anywhere, and Jess makes her food in his hotel room so that she makes sure that she has the food she needs. She has an air fryer too, so that they can control her diet. And this was, she said, it's different. When you put your hand up and you have the training, the performance nerves, it was different. And I just don't have the numbers. It's only been 6 weeks. And she had such a good attitude about it. Like, you could tell she was pissed. Like, she was super pissed. But that's why she's an Olympic champion.
Everything in podium training. She knew what she was capable of doing.
Yeah. And she made a smart move on beam. She was like, I'm not going to risk my mount. I'm going to change just a boring ass jump on the beam and a split, which she knows is boring. So she obviously has something more exciting planned. She was having trouble with her aerial layout. Like, she made it, it was perfect, but sometimes she did her aerial and just didn't have it and didn't go. So, like, she just knows it's numbers, it's consistency, and she's only had 6 weeks, so like she's the Olympic champion, which is why she could do such incredible podium training and hit all of these things. But like, it's different when you have the nerves, which is why we've been saying Gabby Douglas needs to come back and compete as soon as she can. And we thought it was a really good idea that Gabby Douglas was competing here, because competition nerves are different than training in the gym. And that's exactly what Suni said. Super, super impressed with her. So, but I do think that the other theme of this meet was the women took up the mantle from the old Vegas drunk gym moms competition when Winter Cup was in
the
Vegas.
Drunk Gym Moms Classic, when Winter Cup was only a men's competition. Yeah.
The men hit a lot of routines, and the women there were so many falls I stopped counting. I just was like,
surprised you started counting.
Oh my God. I was just like, this is taking all my time counting up all these falls.
This is a full-time job, counting the Winter Cup falls. Yeah.
Like,
it was very Winter Cup for almost everyone.
Right. Half the gymnasts on every event fell. And Addison Feta got hurt at the end. She did her Yurchenko double full and crashed it. And, I think she had to be carried off. So I hope she's okay. But yeah, so it was kind of a splat fest, but the veterans did really, really well. DiCello, Trinity, Kaliya Lincoln, even though she fell, but I'm not counting that, obviously. It's Winter Cup.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of not falling, you had DiCello and Trinity.
Hesley fell too. Didn't Hesley fell
on bars? Yeah.
Yeah, Hesley fell on bars. Skye fell on bars, which we're like, it's bars. Yeah. Skye. Stay on the bars. That's why
it was like for Skye Blakely, second all-around 54 in the all-around. Like, good winter, it's February, good progress point. I thought her beam was good. Floor is starting from a farther along place this year than it was last year, so that's a positive. She didn't go for the chung, but her Yurchenko double full was fine. It was a good, fine February. Okay, you fell on bars performance.
Yeah.
It wasn't like DiCello going all out, but it was like, yeah, you're on track. You're fine.
And Kaliya Lincoln was second on floor with a 13.95 with a little like fall stumble off balance out of one of her leaps. And I'm like, yeah, it's Winter Cup. She's not even close to her full. And then she did a perfect switch half on beam and then fell off on that. She oversplit per height, everything, and then fell off. And I was like, but can you get extra points for showing everyone how it should be done?
Because it's Winter Cup.
I know. It means nothing. Like, really, this meet means nothing. Unless you put your hand up to go in an assignment, it really means nothing. We have a question.
Haley asks, Jessica, did they use the yardstick level on the beam?
I didn't see it today. So they may have used it before I got there, but I had to get there very early today. So we had a question about what does this mean for Suni to Baku?
Yeah.
Because this meet is a qualifier for, if you said you wanted to go, Baku, Gymnastics, and DTB Cup. So I don't know. And someone asked Suni and Jess about that. And he just said, well, this is up to the selection committee. It doesn't have anything to do with us. And I was like, wow, that's such a different approach. Some other coaches would hunt down Alicia and Chelsea and be like, excuse us.
Well, who knows? I think that's what any coach would say in the media. That's the answer.
Not Laurent.
What is
Laurent would be like, listen, this is why Zoe Miller should be on the team, because they're throwing away this, everyone has a different way of coaching and it's fine. So
we don't know. It's interesting because theoretically this competition is the selection competition for Baku. So if you're going by scores, and again, we don't know who put their hand up for Baku and said, I want to go. And we don't know how many people might have said that.
DiCello and Trinity not going.
They're like,
they did not put their hands up.
We did what we needed to do here.
Yeah. Welcome.
So depending on who said they wanted to go, that would be part of it. But Suni did not get high scores on either of her events. But it kind of goes to the question of what is the selection committee or the leadership committee? What's their approach? What are they empowered to do? Like, is it just results based, or is there someone there to intervene and say, well, it's Suni and she's trying to get a skill named after herself, and it's Suni and she might realistically make the Olympic team, so we want her to go over someone who scored better at the selection competition? Or is that a vestige of a previous era that now they're like, no, that's going to be considered unfair because we have to go purely by the scores and might send someone to Baku who's not realistically going to make the Olympic team because they scored better at Winter Cup.
Right. And I also feel like you should be high 13s, 14s if you're going to a World Cup. So who raised their hand that also has those level of scores? Maybe people don't agree with me, but those are the people that I would send. But, we don't know exactly who said they wanted to go. So that's a question still. The final results, can you give people just like a rundown of like who top 6 and who won each event?
Oh, yeah. So DiCello obviously won the all-around by over 2 points. And then Blakely was second with a fall on bars. Hesley Rivera third all-around, also with a fall on bars. Trinity Thomas fourth. And then Dulcie Kaler fifth all-around. I was super impressed with her execution on bars, by the way. I mean, her
so beautiful.
Yurchenko double full was very high. We know her bars was like one of the highlights of the competition for me. So that was top 5 all-around. DiCello won bars with a 14.3. And floor with a 14.05. Who won beam? Oh, it was a tie because Blakely and Hesley Rivera both got 14.5. Blakely originally was on 14.4, but then her score got bumped up to a 14.5. We were talking about beam execution scoring because I was like, Hesley got a higher execution score than anyone in the entirety of Worlds last year. And it was a good routine, but there were things. So I was like, this is not necessarily representative as a score that you're getting a mid-5 with, like a deep dismount. She survived her beam dismount, which was an accomplishment today for anyone doing. I was like, why is anyone trying a double, except for Kaliya Lincoln, why is anyone trying a double salto beam dismount? Because you're going to land it inside your own kneecaps.
The amount of crashes on beam dismounts in podium training, let alone today, and bar dismounts, I was like, you guys, just don't. Let's just not do that. Also, so vault highest scores, DiCello and Skye Blakely tied 14.2, right? 14. No one else was higher. There was a 14 from Lee from...
And then Dulcie Kaler was 14.15.
Yeah.
Hers was also very, very good.
Yeah. Yeah, Dulcie. That's what I'm saying. Like, she has like an elegance on bars that's so, with no Levi here. It's we really have to look to Suni and in case you missed it, which you guys obviously know who are here live with us. But so Gabby did not compete. COVID. What does that mean for her specifically in the big scheme of things?
Well, it means that she's pushing back kind of the process that she needs to go through to get scores to qualify for events. She'll at some point have to qualify to championships. There are other opportunities to do so. April camp. If April camp goes well, an assignment from that. American Classic, US Classic. But you do need, if it comes to the issue of petitioning, you would need an international assignment if you want to petition to trials. If for someone who wasn't on a recent Worlds team, which Gabby hasn't been because she's been out for 8 years. So you would need that, or you need the performance from Classic, you need to advance to championships, and you need to advance to trials. So basically this was just an early opportunity to get a score to solidify your position that you can advance to this meet. It just means there are fewer opportunities, but there are remaining opportunities to do exactly the same thing that she would have had the opportunity to do here.
Yep. I think the qualifying score thing is important because like Trinity was like, I got my qualifying score to championships. I can relax for a little while. Like all of that is completed, which is really nice. Like, and Gabby Gabby doesn't have her ICS insurance in case you can't compete at Classic, you don't have your insurance. Memel confirmed, Chelsea Memel confirmed, not Chelsea Mammal, as they called her on the broadcast, but Chelsea Memel.
The graphic did say Chelsea Mammal, and we will be calling her Chelsea Mammal.
And she
which is its own classification in the animal kingdom.
That's right. And
we have mammals, and then we have Chelsea mammals.
So Chelsea did confirm that the selection, they can invite, there's no reason that Gabby can't come to the selection camp and get an assignment in April.
For the late spring assignments, the April camp,
Yeah. So let's go into Suni's performance a little bit more here.
Okay.
6 weeks. Is there anything we didn't cover? She's only been working out for 6 weeks, for crying out loud.
Jessica would really like you to know that she's only been working out for 6 weeks, and things get different when you're competing for a score.
Yes, that's what I would like you to know. I also want you to know about what happened in the warm-ups, because in warm-ups she missed her mount twice. Then the third one was perfect. So the layout flip flop. And by missing it, I mean she did a layout and then jumped off the side. Then she wasn't doing a dismount, so she basically just did like a prep for a round off, and then just sort of like ran off the end. But when she ran off the end, she missed the foot and just like stumbled sideways off the end of the beam and sort of crumpled onto one knee, and then was just laughing and like everybody was laughing around her, and it was hilarious. It was the most gymnast, like Olympic champion.
She needed to break the tension. She was like, I know what's needed right now. I need to do something silly.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then on bars, she did not miss a single release in podium training. And even in the warm-up, she didn't miss her Jaeger full. And the crowd, like I missed it for a second, and I heard the crowd just scream. Like everyone is screaming. And I was like, oh shit, did she just go? And then I looked at the replay and saw it. And I was like, oh, these are great fans. Like these are great fans here. No, they screamed like crazy when she did it. So then when in the meet, she missed her Jaeger full. And then she also missed her in between the bar ganger. But then did a great dismount because Suni. And then beam, we know what happened there. Basically, she was like, beam, I'm done with it. I do like that she just was like, it's not worth it. I'm clearly don't have enough training. So like she balked on her aerial layout series and was just like, yeah, this isn't worth it. I'm just not gonna I'm not gonna do a dismount.
She didn't do her mount,
Yeah,
she was like, this is going weird in the warm-up. I'm not going to do the mount. Yeah.
I also love that after that routine, that beam routine, and you can tell she was pissed, but she'd gotten it back together to do beam. After that bar routine, so many of the coaches and other gymnasts like went up to her and like gave her a hug, and there was so much love. I think people know how hard it was for her to just get here and just be healthy enough to do any kind of gymnastics consistently. So just being here is a win. And she had to like kind of tell herself, she said she was telling herself, it's just another day. Well, only been 6 weeks, all that stuff. So I'm not worried. I think that it was just huge that she was here, and it's Suni, you guys. It's just gonna be fine. It's what is it? February. February. Doesn't mean anything in February.
Yeah. And I think I like that she went into this competition and gave it a shot. Okay, it didn't go great, but there's so many years where we've seen in the culture of the U.S. Women's Elite program being you should not show yourself publicly unless you are perfect.
Yes.
Like this routine cannot be seen by eyes unless you are sure you're going to hit. And so to go and be like, all right, it didn't go great. It's Winter Cup. There are more opportunities. Okay. I as a fan like to see that more. You see more gymnastics. You see the process. I so much would rather Suni come and be like, all right, I fell 3 times than wait until the very last minute. Because what if it's not perfect?
Right. And like Jess, her coach, said as much. As he was like, she shouldn't be embarrassed. Like little kids out here watching should see this. She's an Olympic champion. Yeah, she has days that she falls. It's just another day. And I really like that message of, yeah, Olympic champions, just like you. They do their shopping.
I was thinking about it when listening to Peshek's commentary because it was very interesting. She kind of sounded surprised that everyone was falling all over the place. And I was like, Sam, it's Winter Cup. Of course they're falling. But I was like, yeah, she did elite in the era of you don't go to a competition if you're not ready to hit your routine, if you're going to fall. And I think that's still like informed. She wasn't saying anything,
No, negative.
She was being nice. It wasn't like a problem or anything bad, but it was, oh yeah, she did elite during a different era. And I think it's just a different way of thinking. Yeah. Of like, you went to a competition, but you weren't ready yet and you fell. You should never do that.
She did elite during the Mean Girls era. That's what I like to remember it as. Everyone was mean. That was the era of Sam's gymnastics. So she's like, Let's talk about Trinity because, oh my God. I mean, Suni, Olympic champion, was at the meet, but Trinity of Trinity Thomas, of the great Thomases of the Floridas and Pennsylvanias, was there. And she was the star of the meet. She could barely move in the arena without kids flocking to the, netting to keep people away from the gymnasts to get autographs, like in the middle of the meet. Like, people love her, as they should. She's just absolutely lovely. Her gymnastics is beautiful. She was just the absolute star of the meet. So she's not going for any assignments. Yeah, got her all-around score. Can do the rest. She
can go back to Florida and be like, everyone in the lineup, just channel me. Are you competing like Trinity? Or are you not competing like Trinity? Compete like Trinity.
So one interesting thing. We talked about yesterday in our podium training podcast about how she did confirm that she's training a gainer 1.5 off beam tucked. Also, so today I noticed that in her podium training, she had been doing an uprise free hip, which we talked about yesterday. And then she's doing her release. So I asked her today, I noticed that you took out the free hip, but are you doing that free hip in there because you plan on maybe in the future doing a shapash to uprise to tkatchev, because that is the new back dive mount. It's all the cool kids are doing it. You have to have it. And she was like, yes, that's a possibility in the future. So I was like, yes.
Jessica, do not make me commit to an upgrade. Yeah. So she's doing the shapash to free hip and then a tkatchev. But you're saying to a free hip tkatchev or Hindorf.
Right, exactly. That is what she kept being like, well, I can't, maybe I'm not going to. And I was like, but the people want to know. They want to know your every move. So, I mean, give people what they want, Trinity. Just be like, yeah, I've done that in my life. Okay. So that's exciting because she did really well. I mean, for me, the overall for Trinity was like, oh, you're in the mix. It's real.
Yeah. And that she did the all around, because that was still not like 100% confirmed. As of going into the meet, she had recently been injured. So nice to, I think, doing the all-around, getting her all-around score. That's a victory. I thought bars was very clean. I think that was better than what we saw her turns in podium training. She was a little shaky at the beginning of that mega combo that she does, but then by the end it was extremely clean. She scored over 14 there. Beam, tentative, a little like, oh, this is competition. Tight moments, but worked through it, stayed on. No big deal kind of thing.
I thought that she was one of those beam routines where you saw her as a veteran stand out from the others, because there was a lot of kersplatting on beam and she was not one of them. She's like, no, I don't fall. Thank you so much for asking, but no, I will be staying on the beam. A little off. No. I'm staying right here on top. You get on the beam, you stay there for the whole practice. We have a question.
Do we think her floor composition will change to front full to double lay and then do full twisting double lay for the second pass?
Probably, because today she did full twisted punch, front full step out to a double back, a double layout. Her switch turning leap, which was not all the way around. And then she did a double front full layout as a punch front double layout. Punch, Jesus Christ. Punch
a front double lay? I did not see that.
Punch. She did it. It's a Randy, front not a Rudy, full? A Randy. Yeah, front double
that
full.
Would be a 2.5.
Oh, sorry. It's a. Don't we have a name for that? What can't we call it something? A Ricky? A Rudy, a Ricky, and a Randy.
A bit of a Randy, a Rudy, a Kevin, and a Randy. It's fine.
Front layout, double full. Yeah, and that's an E. So she was like, you're welcome, right? It's an E in Elite, isn't it?
Jessica's been watching too much college.
Is it an E only in Dev? In the level 10 code? Isn't it?
Yeah, it is an E in college. Emily said, which is the level 10 code. Emily says, do you think we'll be seeing more of Kamar Williams in the picture for the future? She hit the 51 all-around score needed on her first elite meet. Yes, she got exactly her nationals all-around score. Bars was like very Joss Robertson's here, and she's going to try to do a bars routine, and it might be all over the place, but I loved her double layout to crazy split jump into the ceiling on floor.
Yes. That she replaced Trinity. She was like an homage to Trinity because I'm competing with her double layout to NASA. Split leap. She is very impressive and just smooth on everything. Like she just has good, solid gymnastics. Bars. It's like a Joss situation.
The rest of them were great.
Yeah, the rest of it's fine. Bars are, skip them. Go to college and never do bars again. So yeah, I'm excited to watch her. And so was Simone. Simone tweeted about her and was like, "Oh,
look at that split jump."
Yes,
that's something I would do.
Okay, what? No, I'm looking at the clickable code of points to see what the. Where's your forward saltos? Okay, clickable code of points on the balancebeamsituation.com. How much is a double front? You don't have it on here? Spencer.
Obviously, I have it on there.
Front layout full. Front layout double full. A Cheriskova. Terasheva. It's a 4.4. So what is that?
A D.
Oh, there we go. It's only a D, you guys. It's not an E. It's not college. My God, try to keep up. It's a D, you guys. We record this live right after the meet before we've had the chance to do our full analysis. I forgot to say that at the very beginning of the show. It's a little off the cuff without all the deep, deep research that we do before the regular show. Trinity vaulted Yurchenko full, solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll upgrade that.
Just a full.
Duh.
She was like, whatever.
She's like, you're welcome all around. Meh. Trinity, mobbed for photos, as we discussed. Which, honestly, USA Gymnastics, there's so many things you're doing better. So many, many things you're doing better.
Uh-huh.
Take a note from college gymnastics and plan for autograph sessions. Like, plan for 5 minutes after the meet for athletes to sign a couple of autographs. I mean, like some people did that outside of the meet later on their own, but the ones who like needed security, went off in the back. So I'm sure security was having an absolute heart attack at this thing because there was just nothing separating the people from the meet. If Simone had been there would have probably been a small human riot. There were a lot of small humans at this meet. So anyway, I just, do what college does. Let people stay for a minute and say thank you and high five everyone. And, I wish they had done that, but it was great that some people stayed afterwards and did it. Where are we? Do we have announcements? Yes. Let me do announcements really quick. Okay. You know how they do announcements at the, did you have a school that did announcements like over the loudspeaker?
No, we didn't have loudspeakers.
Yeah, we didn't either. Well, we did, but they were never used unless someone called your classroom to be like, come to the office or come to the principal's office, or you have a phone call, which, I may have gotten one of those. But for nothing I did, it was my haircut because fascists. So anyway, yeah. Okay, so you guys, for you Club Gym Nerd members, the live show virtual season pass is on sale. Now, you get 4 live show virtual tickets for the price of 3. It is such a good deal. And if you want to upgrade to an in-person ticket because you want to do the costume contest at NCAA championships, it's just an extra $5 to upgrade to your in-person ticket. So you can do that only for Club Gym Nerd members, on sale now. Fantasy Gymnastics YouTube show. We have one of those now. So if you're doing fantasy for college and you want to know, who's a good deal, we have that on YouTube now. And we have our fantasy league at gymcastic.com. Click on the little fantasy button. A lot of people in the media section updating their Winter Cup fantasy rosters right before the meet started. That was exciting to see. And we love you guys sharing your favorite moments from the show on social media so that we can share those in turn. So thank you all for that. And thanks to everybody that came up and said hi today at the meet. It was so great to meet you guys. And I just it's great to know how the show affects you and how much you enjoy it. And you did, of course. I have a marriage proposal to pass on to you, Spencer, from a gentleman who's at Ball State. So he would just like to extend that. So now you know. I told him, I'm trying to marry Spencer off. So, I mean, not to get rid of you, Spencer, but it's just one of my life goals.
If you get married, you have to quit.
You better not. I'm going to put it in your wedding vows. Like, excuse me, just a moment. Was the part where you get to interrupt? I'm going to be like, but I married Spencer first. You can
imagine me having a wedding ceremony.
I know you wouldn't be there. Everyone else, you would show up drunk at the end of the reception in the corner really quick. Yeah, you know how you show up when you've had a couple drinks. Then you enjoy yourself in the social. Okay, anyway, you guys, don't get distracted. We're talking about gymnastics. All right, so we talked about Trinity. Do you have some top Winter Cup moments that you want to discuss?
I think my favorite was Skye Blakely's wolf turn on floor. When she has some good wolf turns in her repertoire. When she did like 1 1/4 turns and then clipped her foot and just sort of stood up and stumbled around for a while. That was a good one. I think that was my Winter Cup funny version, because there were a lot of Winter Cup just like, oh, that's not close. Oh, that skill's, you shouldn't be doing that skill. I don't think you hit that ever.
There were a lot of dismounts where I was like, someone catch this kid before this kid hits the ground. I was disappointed there wasn't more catching. Yeah.
When you see the going up for the bars dismount and you're like, oh, that's not turning over fast enough.
Thank God there was a hero. I can't remember who it was on beam, but she basically missed a foot on her round off and like an absolute cat just was like, and I will not flip. And I'm just going to graciously do just a roll out of this safely. Because me and like Scott grabbed each other and we're like, and then she just was like, I'm a cat. I know exactly what to do and how to get out of this safely. This is why my parents put me in gymnastics so I could fall over from great heights without breaking anything. So shout out to that girl. I can't remember who it was, but we see you. We salute you. Is it time to talk about Kaliya Lincoln yet?
Oh, Koa asked, is Spencer proud of Kayla DiCello's tour jeté half? It's still a little under.
Yeah.
I'm not all the way there yet, but it is much improved versus last year, is what I will say. Yes. I still don't know if I would go with it as a composition choice, because I think any FIG meet is going to downgrade that. But at least the way we saw it in competition today, but improved. Oh,
speaking of downgrading, I did ask Jess about
every leap on floor.
Well, there was that. So many leaps were short. I was like, the scores on floor, I was like a little, but did you watch the leaps or just close your eyes until they tumbled again? It's Winter Cup, you guys. So but I did ask Jess, Suni's coach, about how they submitted the skill. And I was like, I think about Siobhan Church getting the Nabieva downgraded and he was like when we did the Nabieva, and I was like, and he was like, the thing is, like, all of these laid out skills, like everybody pikes a little bit on them. Like most of them you see, and they still get credit. And he was like, I don't see any pike in Suni's Jaeger. And I was like, yes, you're right. No pike. Nobody saw a pike. I mean, it's not a pike in the skill. It's a pike at the very end, right before she catches the bar. It's not like the layout and the full are completed laid out. So I basically think that there isn't, and I talked to a couple judges about this too, and they were like, yeah, I don't think that would be downgraded as a skill. It will just be deducted. So everyone seems to be on the same page with that. So I just want to reassure you, Spencer.
For the follow-up.
You're welcome.
Because I get concerned about these things, and we'll talk about Cottbus and what's happening with Zhang's clear hip layout tkatchev and whether is that getting named. Did she get credit for it? We will see. I don't know.
Is she going to get a scroll like I have decided that Hillary Heron got, even though it wasn't a scroll, it was a piece of paper, but it sounds more fun.
Yeah.
Kathy says.
Ooh, between Leanne, Kayla, and Skye, who would have the best chance?
I mean, if it was today?
Yeah, but just anyway, we're just playing.
If it was today...
Roethlisberger, the entire competition, was trying to get Sam to name Olympic teams. He was like, who's your Olympic team? And she was like, I don't play this game. And he was like, I want to play it all the time.
Me and Kensley were talking about that today. And I, like, every time I was like redoing my team, because I was like, well, so I did happen to write this down, by the way. And I'm like, okay, so it's Simone and Shilese. They're healthy. They're on the team. They've proven themselves best all-arounders. So they're in. So then you build a team around them. Then it depends if Suni is top 2 on 2 events. Suni's on the team. Or if she wins them outright, she's going to be. So then you build around that. So what complements a Simone, Shilese, Suni team? You need floor and vault people. But then if you have Gabby, who can give you a big fatty on bars too, then you want that score as well. So then I'm like, so if you need a complementer on floor and vault and beam, maybe then you take a Kaliya, or you pick Leanne because she's amazing. But DiCello, you can kind of plug in anywhere and look at her score. But also DiCello is a great alternate because you can just use her anywhere. So then I'm like, we have to see where Leanne Long is when she comes back to Elite. So you can't decide, and it's a puzzle, and we just no.
Jessica's not deciding.
I do want to talk about
right now. I will commit for a right now as the answer to the question, which would be Kayla DiCello.
Yeah.
If you're asking for an actual answer to the question and not whatever Jessica just did.
I do want to talk about Kaliya Lincoln for a second. Yeah, DiCello today. After this, I would put her on the team. But Kaliya Lincoln, who I don't know if we've ever mentioned, but she was on 5 of the 6 highest scoring teams for Worlds, and they didn't take her.
Mentioned
Have we ever mentioned that? I'll never get over it. So I want to talk about her. Like, clearly she's not at full strength, and she also was like, I'm just coming here to compete. I'm not going for assignments. I'm just whatever.
She was Winter Cup. She was aware that this competition was Winter Cup, and she performed like it was Winter Cup. Yeah.
Yeah. This was like, yeah. Also, it was interesting to see her gears of gymnastics, like I've talked about before, like almost like the Chinese men. Like, you think they can't point a toe or like stay on any apparatus in prelims, and then they win and score like 6 points more in finals. So it was kind of like that. She'd go her first turn and I was like, oh no, what happened? And then she'd go her second turn and I was like, oh yes, hello, welcome back. I have to talk about the pauses on beam though, because these are really worrying me. If her pauses on beam keep her off the Olympic team, I will never recover. So she fell on her switch half today, we talked about. But like here, so some of the deductions, like, so poor rhythm connection is a 10th, right? And a necessary adjustment, that's another 10th. When you stand there and you're like, oh, I'm scared of this, I'm going to pause. That's an unnecessary adjustment, I think, where you're like moving around. Pause for 2 seconds is another 10th. And then there's another one, right? Insufficient tempo. I mean, could that, because you just stop? So you guys, this could be 4 tenths getting in the way of putting Kaliya on my Olympic team. And I'm really concerned about it. So she's going to have to work on this, because we can't have these 4 tenths. You've got to pay yourself, like Nicole says, the tenths. Don't be giving them away to anybody. They're yours. Also, could you tell on the stream how fast she runs into her tumbling passes? Like, the velocity she reaches, the real estate she covers in like a nanosecond. It's no wonder her tumbling is so freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Kaliya Lincoln, everyone.
She did her double A out full. I think she piked it more than is typical, or piked it more than she needed to, in kind of a Winter Cup way, where it was like, yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, she was very like, oh, we're here.
Yeah.
I think USA Gymnastics really put some emphasis on this, like, hey, show up to this meet. Because I don't know how they got all these people who aren't even going for assignments to come to this meet. So I feel like it was like, get all the, you guys barely get to compete, get all the competition experience you can. Because I expected this meet to just die, but it's still here. So making it an assignment was good. Anything else that you guys want to talk about with DiCello, other than her double was great?
I think
bars. She did her Hindorf and her, what was the other thing that's Hindorfy?
The other thing that's Hindorfy? She has a church.
Yeah, her church. She said those were the things that she was the most proud of today. Our church is Hindorfy. It's a tkatchev variation. That's Hindorfy. That she was the most proud of.
Good save.
Yeah, well, any tkatchev variation. It's like saying a shaposh variation, a Maloney, or whatever. It's all a shaposhi. It's not a Kevin. Like a Kevin, the Rudies, the Randys, the shaposhes, the tkatchevis. Yeah, I was. She was really excited about those, and I was also like, yeah, they're showing up on bars.
Mhm.
Also, excellent Leo. Did you notice how? I have some notes that I have to discuss in general. And the first one is that like 5 different teams picked the same color of blue for their Leos. So when you were like,
you're living in my world. All those colors look the same.
I was like, you guys, how
Do
are
you
like
like this
Nola
blue or this
and
purple? Okay, those are the same color. So thank you.
Nola, Suni, Gage, WCC, all wearing the same colors. I was like, it's so hard. You know, I write down like, okay, Reese is wearing black. So-and-so's wearing blue. Like if it's hard to tell from far away until I can see their actual skills and know. Yeah, so that was very frustrating for me. And so then I asked Kensley, and Kensley was like, oh, it's Elsa. Apparently, you know, there's a movie with singing with the Ice Queen and the letting it go.
It's been a while. We're still into Frozen?
Listen, Spencer, do people still hold up their babies like it's a Lion King? Yes.
Fair.
These things, once it's a Disney, it never goes away. Kaz has a question.
There was a video in December of DiCello training a half on vault and aiming for a chung. Do we know if she is still working on that?
I don't know.
Don't know, but probably.
Yeah.
Who isn't working at chung?
Right. That's the thing. It's like, I also want to point out Zoe Miller, who is, I just love watching her. She's just a normal sized height human. And so when you watch her do gymnastics, it looks like she's going 1,000 feet in the air. And like she does, because also like she can vault, she can push the vault board down. So I would just point to her. You know, when you guys are having conversations with some like gymnastics muggles that have no idea what's going on, and they're like, well, don't you have to be like 3 feet tall to do gymnastics, or your hands don't fit around the bars? Some ignorant nonsense. Don't you have to be 7 and never go to school and not know what a prom is? Anyway, when people say stuff like that, you can be like, meet Zoe. She is a normal height, average height human and is an elite gymnast and excellent and has great form. So in your face, you know, just politely, but like point to her, and also just like gorgeous gymnastics. It was Chloe Cho. Thank you for the person that pointed that out after podium training, who does that really pretty back shoulder roll variation with the legs. That's just nice to look at. And yeah, Nola did go back to her old routine, which you can't go wrong with. Nola Matthews of the Green Hills of Gilroy. Yeah. And then I had a note about Kamar Williams, but obviously we already talked about her going to NASA astronaut training during her floor routine.
So Nola's bardwage, she did it. It went kind of how it was going in podium training, where she had to sort of die for a second against the bar and then continue. But
yeah, there's a little bit of like an upside down dead bug in the middle. But like, you know, you got to start somewhere. Bahardwaj is always also funky as hell.
There were a lot of people having to add like 9 extra cast handstands to their bars routines and looking a little huffing and puffing at the end of them.
Yeah, I was a little like, oh, if you haven't been doing full routines, please don't go for a dismount. Be smart like Suni and just evacuate the beam.
We're done.
Evacuate the bars.
We're over this. It's over.
Yeah. We haven't talked a lot about Skye.
Have we not? Yeah, I thought she had a solid competition after bars. Kind of a weird mistake on bars. Her Van Leeuwen, which is usually solid. She was off from the start because she was like tucked it even before she missed her catch, but did what she needed to do on beam, showed progress on floor, I think. Did what she needed to do.
I also want to point out, after podium training, I was talking about how great her double front half is, and it's like Miley O'Keefe level of great. She does cowboy more than Miley O'Keefe, but I do want to say that like her landing position, no chest enforcement bureau needing to be called. No badges have to be pulled out. Like she's landing standing up instead of like crumpled in a ball. So I just want to give her a shout out. And I did look at how high she goes, and she does complete her first flip above the high bar. So I'm putting it in I was correct in what I was saying with the Miley O'Keefe area. New seniors. New seniors. We talked about Hesley coming in. What's Hesley? Second?
Third.
So, and
with
Hesley.
A bars and a 12-2.
Beautiful form on everything, as usual. Did you see her little switch full to land and crouch on floor? It's so cool.
I know it is cool, and it makes me nervous because I'm like, you didn't show a full split. If I'm like, that's my thing. I'm like, it's cool when you try to do something out of an element, but if it starts as an element, then I'm going to consider it, you have to complete the whole element. It's like the Maddie Williams wolf turn of artistry for Cal on floor. I'm like, I'm going to assume this is a mistake.
Yeah. When you think it's a fall into a cover-up artistic choice, but it was actually an artistic choice all along. I did worry when I saw it in the meet. I was like, oh, is she going to not get credit? Is this going to count? Because you know how the judging is very and not art, even though they're constantly trying to, get more art, but then they take a deduction.
Have more artistry, but only in very specific ways.
Yeah.
Because you know what encourages artistry? Copious requirements.
So much artistry.
That's why all the best painters in history are like, I just loved having this rule book for me to follow.
I was talking to my friend today, and she was like, it's like if someone was reading instructions about a poem, and that's how they put a poem together. That's what their artistry looks like they're trying to do. I read this in a book, so I'm now going to try to act out this. Yeah, not working. Simone Rose, I was impressed with how she recovered after vault because her hands fully slid on vault. Whoosh. And she did her 1.5 and landed safely on her butt because that was very scary. And also her floor is still the best.
And her
besides
floor
Nola.
Is like, I think it's before her last pass. What is being described by the concept of extension? She is doing like the most example of the extension into the corner. Like it starts from the hips and you reach and then you reach.
Reach for the cookie.
I am doing extension leaning. This is what they mean. You will not take this extension artistry deduction because this is exactly what you have described.
Yeah. I need to do a whole section of like where we put together pictures of people who are showing the correct example and then just put a cookie or a piece of pizza or a Oscar in one hand. And that's when people need to imagine a college degree, a eponymous skill scroll.
Things people like cookies and education. The popular things.
Speaking of cookies, a friend brought us cookies today to the meet. Like there's some famous, amazing cookie place here. And then didn't get the cookies because I was too freaking busy with the working. Oh, ruined my cookie opportunities. But also we went to a sports bar last night called the Manhattan Project, which is obviously what you think of when you think of sports bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they put gymnastics on so we could watch the college meets last night. So thanks to Casey and Casey, who we went out with last night, they put it on the bar area. They put it on for us, and then we moved to a table to have dinner, and they put it on 2 different TVs in front and back of us so we could watch gymnastics no matter where we were sitting. And I was like, this is the best place. So if you guys want to, Manhattan Project in Louisville. Amazing. I literally went to the owner and I was like, are you the owner? Thank you so much. Gymnastics. I appreciate you. So shout out to them. Jayla Hang, also a new senior. Non sequituring back to gymnastics. Not great for her, not a great meet, but like she has a lot of upgrades. I do want to give a shout out to her back handspring full on beam. Nice and high.
She did do that. It was a good beam.
Yes. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
She had more trouble on her Yurchenko double full than she usually does on vault.
Yeah.
But
yeah, she when she decided to evacuate the actual vault area, and she didn't do a fall on the judges, but she was like, I don't need these mats, they're in the way, I'm gonna step onto the podium. But it's freaking February, we got a lot of time. Risa Sponda, of superhero floor. Enjoyed watching her very much. She fell on her standing full on beam. I feel like she's had a growth spurt because it looks like she's much taller, and that's always an adjustment. Like Mad Ray Johnson, same thing. I just feel like she hasn't adjusted. Like her vault is great, so much power now, but she just hasn't like adjusted to her new height. Did you have that awkward period where all of a sudden you sprouted and then you just couldn't hit your standing full anymore, Spencer?
I couldn't do my standing full anymore. Yeah, that did happen to me.
Yeah, but did you have that where you're like tripping a lot and stuff just because you grew?
I mean, I still do that because my feet don't point the right direction. So you'll have to take a grain of salt with, yeah, that still happens.
It never goes away. But
No.
Risa spawned on floor, Silvas, double layout, just great. Like I'm still like, send her places. This is so great. Her tumbling is so great. Okay. What about the scores do you want to note?
I think we talked about.
Everybody pretty much got their score, right? Not a lot of people didn't get their qualifying score to championships.
Oh, yeah, like 18 people. The top 18 all got their all-around scores for championships. So it's going to be a field.
Yeah.
If they need it. Some other people in the top 18 did not need it. But.
Did Suni get her 2-event qualifying score?
No, Suni did not get her 2-event qualifying score. She fell 3 times.
But she almost did on beam. She got a 12.9, barely doing any gymnastics. Don't you just need a 13 or something to make it? What's the score you need to get to championships?
That's a 3-event. Your 3-event score is averaging a 13. Your 2-event score is 13 too.
That's stupid. 3 events. Nobody needs 3 events when you're an Olympic champion and you can do a Jaeger full. I'm offended. I'm very offended by this. Okay. We have a listener who sent in already has sent in a full analysis of artistry and things that happened. Shall we take a look at this?
This is for the broadcast? From the
yes.
Oh, the number of routines versus mentions of artistry. So yes. 27 bars, 23 vault, 18 beam, 15 mentions of artistry, 14 floor routines.
You guys,
that's good. Artistry, more mentions of artistry than floor routines. I like it.
And if this is the same listener who did the analysis of the other NBC broadcast, that was passed on, and they did appreciate it and have a giggle. So, this is how we get things done around here. We pass on hilarious and entertaining statistics. The next statistic is mentions of artistry by rotation,
which is 0 in the fourth rotation. We were done with artistry.
They were done.
The fourth rotation.
And then the final is a percentage of routines shown.
Yeah, floor really lagged behind. I think that's what we learned.
Yep.
Not enough floor.
I couldn't, I was watching live and I had my iPad up with the stream on. So I got a little bit of a look at that too. But I felt like they did a good job of showing a lot of different routines at this meet.
Yeah.
It wasn't NBC, you guys, because it was USAG doing it. Just, you didn't know. Let's discuss.
They had Lily on the broadcast, and she was like so pleased that they asked her questions about gymnastics. Not that she really had an answer, but she was like, "Oh my god, you mean I don't have to like deal with questions about legal proceedings or independent investigations? You just want me to talk about like how great the team is and how deep they are? Like, the dream."
Okay, you know how like buff Lily is and how she like, I was talking to her today and I was like, because she was joking how she would never try a back handspring right now. And I was like, are you kidding? Like, have you met yourself? Like, you look like you're fully in elite shape. You're so strong. I bet you can still do like a handstand push-up and a pull-up, which is the minimum to do a back handspring. And I was like, remember at that meet when you did basically a handstand to lower down very slowly into a headstand? That was very impressive. You have a lot of strength. And she was like, no, that was so embarrassing. And I was like, but still, it showed how freaking strong you are. Anyway, it's always nice that she comes by and says hi. And also, I think she could totally do a back handspring, you guys, right? Like, I mean, if they need to do some kind of fundraiser, Get Lily to do a back handspring because she can do it. All right, let's talk before we get to more questions about Winter Cup. Let's talk about what happened at the Olympic qualifier World Cup. This is number 2 of 4. Best 3 scores for points out of the 4 count. 2 people per event can go. So you have to have the most points. And some people like Emma Malabuyo are only going to 3 of these, not doing the 4th. So because during NCAA. So Spencer, what happened? We've only finished. We still have one more day to go, but we will be
beam and floor for the women's finals have not happened yet, so we don't have final points there. But we've had the vault and bars final. Vault kind of continuing the trend we were worried about after Cairo, in that Chuso is probably not going to happen. It's probably not going to happen for Chuso and Olympic qualification. She had a fall in the final. So An Chong-ok of North Korea and Valentina Georgieva of Bulgaria, 1 and 2 again. That's 2 events in a row. They have first place and second place points, which is going to make it very hard for anyone else at this point because they have such a lead. Chuso would need to start winning events and get some help, basically, is what would need to happen. So it's very, very tough at this point.
Can Chuso still get one of the, it's not the continental spot.
That's the only other thing.
Isn't there some kind of like
Asian championships?
Yeah, I thought there was some kind of like 2 spots that were sort of
Chuso exception.
Yeah.
There's a tripartite commission for underrepresented countries kind of thing, which is not.
I mean, what country does she represent now? Uzbekistan? They're underrepresented, aren't they?
This is for you don't have many athletes.
Yeah.
There are regulations. I would have to look at what the specific rules are to be awarded the tripartite commission place, but I'd go for it.
I mean, I don't know though if she wants to make it like that after being an Olympic champion. Like, does she want to go back to here's your?
Why is she doing these events for? She doesn't want to make it.
Well, because she's earning it this way, or the tripartite thing. If she gets it, it's we just want you to break the record and for a gymnast to have the most Olympics ever. So yeah, okay. Everyone is talking about Kaliya Nemour's.
Yeah,
Kaylia Nemour. Jesus.
Before we get to the qualification points on bars, so Nemour went 7-0, got a 7-0 D score in the final after 6-9 in qualification because she was like, hello, thank you for that over while I was talking. I love it so much. She was like, what if I upgraded to an in-bar shapash in the final? That could add an extra 10th. And so I'm just going to add more. So she's going, at this point, she's going for a 7-2, but she never gets the half turn on the
7.
Irwell Fenton, and is kind of fine with it at this point. She's just whatever.
Do you remember when a 7-2 was a joke we'd make about they're just going to go for a 7?
I remember when that was a real score, when Nasi was competing.
When Nasi was competing, and then it became impossible and a joke, and now she's literally doing it. And a reminder, she already qualified to the Olympics. She's going. Mm-hmm. We called her the Olympic champion and how France missed out on having an Olympic champion on bars. She's representing Algeria, that whole situation. My God, she's just, can you imagine if we have a Nina Suni Nemour? And then, yes.
Shilese.
Yeah. Who else do we need to add into that?
Yeah, I mean...
Bars is so exciting.
Least Chu Chi-yun, if not also maybe Zhang Yihan, who is the other one from this final that I want to talk about, because she went for the clear hip layout tkatchev, which is not named after anyone.
Oh, Becky Downey. We need Becky Downey to make it too.
Yeah, we need Becky Downey, obviously, to make it. Did she get credit for this? Did she get it named? Because it is very good. There's a little bit of hip angle. So for me, it should be, yes, that's a layout. And if you want to take a 10th for position, that's fine. But we know in the past, it's been very specific on a layout salto with no twisting that a little bit of pike is not necessarily going to get credit. So I'm waiting to see, It's not like Siobhan Church, who, like, I'm okay with her getting pike credit. I know.
How dare you?
Not, because she started laid out, and then by halfway through, that was a piked element, and it was correctly evaluated as a toe on tkatchev piked. Which last time after Jessica talked about it, I went back to reassure myself, and I was like, yes, that is a piked element.
She should have just, because she could do it. I mean, I watched her in the gym do it, like not at a competition, practicing it. And like, she should have just done a kip out of it and been like, screw it, I'm going to get this named. And then I'll do a pike tkatchev into my pack so I can get it named. But so this is a Stalder laid out tkatchev half. Is that right? Okay. I just want to make sure. Cordelia knows the rules. Cordelia has it.
Clear hip, layout, tkatchev, regular.
Clear hip,
nothing
not a Stalder.
What you described.
Clear hip tkatchev. So it's a Hindorf half.
No.
Laid out Hindorf half.
No half turn.
There's no half turn.
This is a Nabieva, but it's from clear hip. What Zhang Yihan is doing.
Laid out Hindorf. Okay. Oh, I was confused about you talking about the Durwell Fenton. Okay, I understand. Okay, got it. I'm on the same page as you now. Remember, you guys, this is right after meet.
Ever been on the same page as me? Anyway, Cordelia says tripartite commission is countries with fewer than 7 athletes total. On average, at the last 3 Olympics, Uzbekistan is not eligible.
Yeah, thank you, Cordelia. It's good to have an MIT graduate in engineering to read all the rules for us. I love it.
Anyway, this is my question about credit. I'm waiting for confirmation. Haley says she got it named after her.
Yes. Clear hip, laid out tkatchev.
Clear hip, layout tkatchev. Okay, so qualification-wise, other dynamics, Elena Sitvets, who is technically AIN, authorized neutral athlete. She is one of the few Belarus athletes who got approval to compete at FIG events as an authorized neutral athlete, is the top point getter on bars from Cottbus. Because Nemour won, obviously, but she is already qualified to the Olympics. But, you know, that she would need to be allowed by the IOC. Belarusian athletes would need to be allowed at the Olympics by the IOC.
So the FIG created this process where you can apply and be like, I didn't say anything about the war. I'm not affiliated with the military in any way. Please accept my application. And then an independent outfit does research and digs through your social media and is like, oh, you're not an Ngorni? Okay, then we'll allow you to compete. So she is one of the few people on this list because we've been checking and checking. There's like hardly anyone on it. So,
not many artistic gymnasts at all on the list.
So that's the process. So we'll see.
Overall, Georgia Rose Brown, who was 3rd on points, on Olympic qualification points here, still overall in the lead because she got the top points from the first event. So Sitvets and Maëlys Brassard of Belgium finished ahead of her here, but Brown is still ahead on points. After her, it's still very close. Natalie Vestlund of Sweden is right up there. She's still in 2nd. It's kind of still, I feel like, anyone's game. It's much more up in the air for those qualification spots, whereas on vault, On and Georgieva are definitely the front runners after 2 events. Levi still hanging around there on bars. I think she's in 6th now on points, but would need, so, you know, it's top 2, so she would need a big result in the at future events, but she's hanging around near the qualification spots. So that's what we know so far. 2 more finals to come, beam and floor. Emily asks how Malabuyo's chance is looking. So she did not make the floor final in Cottbus. She still got a solid amount of points. She still got 14 points because a lot of the people ahead of her were not eligible. So she's still in it. Because she's not going to 4 events, she's going to need a good result from Baku to kind of solidify her position as everyone else goes to Doha, the last event, and tries to pass her. So she's in it.
Yep.
But we have to see what happens in the final to see how the points shake out for people ahead of her.
Also, loving the Leos that Levi and Emma have had from Sylvia P. Like, they're like deep colors and not too many sparkles, but like directional spark. Also, you guys, Nina Durwell's Leo that Spencer was pointing out was the most not Dutch, for crying out loud, Belgian thing ever.
Belgian floor routine.
and I didn't see it close up enough. It's a freaking diamond pattern, not an owl. Not a graphic owl.
I thought that was just a Jessica interpretation. But that's owl.
I was like, oh, Antwerp diamonds. Now I see it. Got it. I mean, it also looks like a geometric owl. But anyway, I get it now. Yes, diamonds. Okay. Before we talk about some of the college news, do you guys have other questions, things you want to know about either the World Cup or Winter Cup?
Linzers asks, could Suni submit 2 skills? One is piked and one is laid out, and that way whatever they judge will get named, and if she gets credit for both, it's a Lee 1 and a Lee 2.
Yes.
Let's do it.
You can. You can
submit whatever you want.
Yeah. She could submit them both. I don't think
you can be Simone and submit that Weiler full every damn time with no intention of competing it.
Also,
what's she gonna do now? What's Simone gonna do now that Georgia Godwin has the Weiler full? Like, what's our dream for Simone's eponymous bar skill? Because she's got to do it, right?
Yeah. Kovacs. She could do a Kovacs so easy. It's Simone. She's one of those people who can just see someone do something and be like, oh yeah, I can do that. She could totally do a Kovacs. If Annalie and Memel were working on Kovacs, like, obviously they have tried it in their lives, right? I think I remember that from like one of the tours that they were like, oh yeah, we could do this. Simone could do it. Come on. If you're going to do a double pike vault, why not do a Kovacs? And it would be called a Simonax.
Would it be called a Simonax?
Yes. In the colloquium.
Yeah. You've said it. You've already named it. It's done.
In the dialect. Like we have Kevin. It's an E in college and only a D.
That's definitely a thing.
Oh, namby-pamby. Great
Would
suggestion.
that be a skill slam to get a skill named on each event?
I love this.
It is now.
Skill slam.
Memo to NBC. They will love it.
I'm writing this down so we can make a t-shirt for you. Skill slam. Who has a skill slam? Horkina has a skill slam, right?
I think theoretically she would have if her skills hadn't been taken away.
Nelly Kim for sure had it. Yeah, we'd have to go back to all the codes.
Horkina, she doesn't have one on floor anymore, does she?
No, well, she had the full, it was like a double twisting Shushanova.
Yeah, but is that one that's real? Or is that
or a 2.5 gainer Shushanova? Have you ever tried it? It's very hard. I tried it for years, and I have a lot of carpet burn scars from it. It's very fun, though. Just throwing yourself over a mat, gainering, and doing as many twists as you can, slamming into the ground. I enjoyed it very much. I never tried it on a very hard ground. It was really mat burns. NCAA update on Peyton Richards.
No, I don't know. She got injured.
Her ankle thing. Ankle foot.
But I don't know.
Yeah, it was weird. She did a double layout. So I watched it from the sports bar.
Yeah.
Double layout, landed it, and then danced out, and then was like, ouch.
And it could be one of those things like you're just in the moment and you didn't realize, and then you're like, oh crap, this hurts.
Yeah.
Or something afterward. But that does happen sometimes where people get injured on a skill and don't realize it right away. Takes a second.
Yeah, so not sure. And I didn't ask Trinity because
she was in her Winter Cup zone.
Right, exactly. I'm very good about that kind of stuff. Not trying to get the tea from other people. It's not really tea, it's just an injury. But anything else? Oh, it's finally NQS time. Oh, Horkina's missing
Jorge
floor.
Says Horkina's missing floor. Nelly Kim's missing bars. Right.
But
although I wouldn't put it past her to claim the counter Kim as that was her. Even though it was not.
It counts for all Kims.
It counts
for all time.
For me, it's also mine.
All of Korea can take that too. Oh, Jorge
is just missing beam. Yeah.
Okay. I'm writing these down so I can ask Uncle Tim. Be like, go back in all the years of codes, and who once at one time had it. Because if you at one time had it, you had it.
And then
they changed the rules. That's stupid.
Like Elise Hoffner-Hibbs double illusion on floor that they're like, we don't want anyone to do that, but it's still yours.
Right. That's the thing. It's like if it got named, it got named.
Yeah. So Corky and I had for 4 years had the hop 1.5 prone.
Oh, only 1.5. Mm.
And that was, she had that from 1997 to 2001.
Because it was so cool because she would jump forward, gainer it, and then 1.5 and land prone like a push-up position. And it looked like she was just like, oh, I've given up. I'm ending it all. I'm flipping myself off the floor. But then she'd boop in a nice position. Yeah. I really like that skill.
Remember that time she did fall like off the floor and then just kind of like stopped and like collapsed like it was her death scene at the end of an opera?
Yes. She Pain of a Nation faked it.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so, so good. What else? There was something else that happened at those meets that we were watching at the sports bar in between decompressing.
Oklahoma got their highest score they've ever gotten.
Yes.
Is that what you were thinking of?
Yes, that's the thing. Yeah. I was like, holy. And then Reagan Smith got like the 10 record for Oklahoma.
Is it the 10 record for Oklahoma?
For beam.
For beam.
I think.
I can look.
Yeah. I think she got the 10 record for beam specifically. I'm also, let me see. Let's look at some of the questions.
Other college things you wanted to say?
So
that'd be Reagan tying Maggie for beam 10s.
Oh, tying Maggie. That makes sense. We still definitely need to. I want to talk about this. If you can throw that up in the on the screen, so we can talk about this fact checker. I just put it in the chat, so you can put it up. I just gave you an Instagram.
Everything's going smoothly here.
It's so you guys were very. This is what happens when you're live and you're.
We're not falling apart at all. We're not flagging even a little bit right now. When Spencer gets into mode of just looking things up like records and skills, then we've lost it. If I'm just like, I'm not even looking at Jessica anymore, I'm just going to read the code of points and go to my safe space.
I've sunk down so low in my chair. I'm like, oh, Winter Cup. Okay, I want to talk about this moment because this is Joaquin Alvarez at the Cairo World Cup. Yes, Cairo World Cup. And he did our dream. He did what we've talked about. So he's on P-bars. He does a kip. He holds it like you do. You just stop there in a pose in an L sit. He presses up to handstand. He's at the very end of the P-bars. He does a little stutz, I believe it is, where you just boop yourself into an L and then back up to a handstand. And then he does giant swing, double layout, dismount. That's his whole routine. So he was attempting to get a double layout.
Favorite men's gymnastics routine, short. Acrobatics and not cool acrobatics and none of this other junk.
He got up and did one skill and then did a dismount. Like he was like, I'm traveling to Egypt to get this named after me. I will not bother trying to make myself tired by doing a whole ridiculous routine. I am just going to throw myself off the end of the P-bars and get a double layout named after me. Good for him, I say. Good for him. Because, I mean, I don't know if they're going to give it to him because the first one's a little piked. Maybe it's going to be a pike. Maybe he submitted it as both a double layout and a pike into a layout like used to be.
FIG, famously FIG loves those double shaped saltos and didn't get rid of all of them.
We can still do them in college gymnastics. So who knows? But I was like, this is always what we've said. This is what people should do. Like work the system. So good for him. A little code hacking there. So the question is, you guys, should Suni go? This is what I was hoping she'd do today at the meet. I was like, Suni should just get back on the bar, do her Jaeger, and then take a bow, wave to her fans.
Yeah, I kind of wondered whether she was going to get back up and try it again.
Yeah. But I think she was like trained to like, get up, repeat, do it. But should Suni do this? Like if they let her, if she's just like, I just need to have, go to Baku. If she says to the committee, like just I need to get the nerves out. Let me just go try this. Should she, do other events? Maybe she does vault, maybe she does beam, but basically if she gets up on bars and doesn't make the first Jaeger full, just keep doing it until she makes it. Like what's his face from New Zealand on high bar at 2017 Worlds, where he just kept getting up on the bar and the crowd was like, do it again. And he finally made it. What was that skill? Some kind of crazy Kovacs thing.
But
Cordelia
yes,
will
I think
remember.
if she does not, she should just do it again. Yes.
I think we need to make that very clear.
You're not going to a World Cup to do a ginger. You're going to do that skill. So if you miss it, do it again.
Right. And you're also going to the World Cup to get your practice doing gymnastics with your nerves. So get your nerves.
To see what it gets valued, because we did learn that US judges said it's an H, which is what I think it should be and what I think the logical value it would be. And I'm still wondering. All right. See, I'm going to just stop talking whenever there's a sound effect when I'm trying to say something. I'm just going to stop.
I love that one, Spencer. I reject the question. I know it should be an I, though. Why can't we have nice things? Why can't we?
Why should it be an I, though? What's the logical
Because we need to escalate the alphabet on all the events.
Add more letters. Ending with Z is a quitter's try.
That's right. Just keep going. I'm sure we can borrow someone else's alphabet and keep adding to it. I just feel like there's too much of a cap on the D's on the women's side. And so we need to make it more equal and have more difficulty. Other questions that we have from folks? Cordelia, do you remember that guy from New Zealand at 2017 Worlds? Or was it 2015 Worlds?
It was 2017. It was Kudanov, definitely.
Yeah.
I just don't know his skill. But I
literally can't remember because we were in the mix zone.
Well, you were in the mix zone, yeah.
Yeah, and you were there watching, so you should remember because I did all the talking to people, so you didn't have to move from the.
Yeah, he has Kudanov has the Gaylord Full named after him.
That's crazy. So it's so it would be a
swing, salto, swing back, full twisting salto, tucked over the bar.
But it's forward, right? You catch it with an undergrip.
Yeah.
So you do a front flip with a full twist, grab it. It's like a full twisting pagan.
Well, yeah, because it's just more twisting than a
right. Pagan. It's a pagan with an extra half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Abby says.
Can we talk about the impossible Aaliyah beam score? Barely.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just 10th. You take only a 10th for that wobble, which is, I guess. Yeah.
I love college gymnastics, but I just really, this is why I don't pay attention to the scores, because it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. It's like, if you're not going to call it corrupt, then it's a complete joke. So I don't know what to say about it, except it's great gymnastics and I really love watching it.
And it's exciting.
Yeah. And it is exciting. Gymnastics
fan asks, if I'm going to go to Classic, should I sit in the back row of the floor level or a middle row of the second level?
Back row of the floor level.
I agree. Because you can move around. Yeah. But sometimes there's security, depending on the arena, they won't let you go to a tier where you don't have a ticket. But once you're in, it's very arena dependent on that. But once you're in, you can kind of move around. So, yeah. Also, I love a back row, obviously. Because you're in a cat position where you're sort of removed but can see everything. But you have safety blockage. You're not surrounded on all sides in a way that makes you uncomfortable.
I never like the upper levels because I'm so afraid of heights. Just sitting on the second level of an arena and watching, just talking about it is making my palms sweat. Yeah.
Remember in Montreal when you had to go to the workroom in the ceiling?
I could barely watch, you guys. It makes me so nervous being up that high. And especially, those arenas where you go in the place where you would fall off. What do you call it? The balcony area? The death spiral, terrifying.
I think you're telling us
wall.
all we need to know by describing a balcony as the place where you fall off.
Where it's like at your knees or at your ankles. So like if you tripped, you will for sure die or be maimed forever because you'll land on a bunch of seats and break everything. Like where these places might have been built at the time when life didn't mean anything and the people just died randomly at the opera, but I would like them to make the wall higher.
I meant that Jorkina was dying in the opera, like as a performer, not just like in the seats.
Thomas George asks,
do we know if Trinity is working on any more difficulty, or are these her routines for the season?
She is working on more difficulty. So she's working the gainer 1.5 off the end of the beam, and she's working on a Hindorf possibly so she can be in the Shaposh Hindorf, Uprise Hindorf Club. Because that's the cool club, and everybody's doing it. Amanda B.
My favorite part of that answer is that it had nothing to do with gymnastics. One of them is a cat, and the other one is afraid of heights. Welcome.
Welcome to GymCastic. We deliver.
Yeah, it was not about that is very telling that my answer about where you should sit had nothing to do with like what you could see. It was like, how comfortable are you going to feel in a public place? That's where my brain went. Not like, what events are you going to see? I was like, where will it be the least scary? Was both of us. That's both for where we went for both of us.
I like being though in the middle of floor because even if you're on the lower level, because you are closer, you have a better perspective on all the events. Whereas if you sit in a section where you're off to any of the sides, you're going to miss stuff. So unless you're like me and you're like, beam is the only thing that matters, then it's, I like to be in the middle so you can see more. But if you can sit right next to vault, always sit right next to vault because you will never have more respect for gymnasts than if you sit right next to vault because you can hear the impact, the life leaving their lungs when they hit the board and hit the ground again. Like it is, you're like, oh, that's why it's like jumping off a 3rd-story building when you land a vault or a 2nd-story building, depending on, that's literally, the impact is so much on your body. It's crazy. Yeah. Oh. What's happening this week? So this week we're not recording. This is our regular show for the whole week because I am shooting an interview for a documentary because I'm trying to keep up my record of being in every single gymnastics documentary there is. No, I did say no to one this year. So I'm doing that and that's why we can't be on a regular schedule, but we will be back for College and Cocktails this week, which is at Spencer will look it up.
Friday, definitely Friday, after Michigan, Oklahoma, which should be fun.
Yes.
Excited about that one.
Michigan, Oklahoma should be good because the NQSs doesn't Michigan go up higher?
Michigan improves because they get rid of that first meet 195.
Yeah.
Michigan's competing right now. What happened? This is why I rely on the people to tell us what's going on while we're recording.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a Saturday. I don't even know what day it is, you guys.
No. Yeah.
It snowed here today. I do want to talk about the Nastia Cup Leos this year. I really like them. And they had them outside on display so we could see them close up. I obviously like the black one because pink is,
pink is
gauche.
Yeah.
It's pink.
What meet was it? There was a college meet last night where we got a good close-up of a little girl dressed in like princess full Barbie pink and just booing and doing thumbs down and just like boo, and it was great. And I was like, gift that, but now I forget what it was. But there was a really good moment.
Do we have any more? Oh, Cordelia. Cordelia has
147.9 through 3 rotations. That's not going to be a 198.
I love how you can do that math in your head.
Which 198 is all that matters now because everyone just gets a 198. And if you didn't do that, you basically have a 0.
198 is the new 985.
Yeah.
It's like the Shaposh Uprise Hindorf is the new Yurchenko full. All right, you guys. I feel like I'm feeling myself hitting the wall.
Yeah.
So
I did a while ago.
We will have some photos up for you, some more interviews up for you on our YouTube channel. I'll try to link these in the show notes as well if you're listening later. we'll see you on Friday for College and Cocktails. What time are we doing it?
TBD? Is that okay? Can we say TBD?
Yes, we'll let you know. Sign up for the newsletters. We have many newsletters. Sign up.
I can decide right now. If you want to talk for a second, I'll decide right now.
Okay, I'll talk and you decide what time we're doing College and Cocktails. Thank you.
7
p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern on Friday, Michigan, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
How many 198s will there be in one meet? Will there be 2? We'll find out. And thank you again so much for your support. We can only afford to travel to these meets, talk to people in person, do these kind of interviews, ask the questions that you want to know because we're able to travel to these competitions. So thank you all so much. And we will see you guys on Friday for College and Cocktails. And until then, have a wonderful week. Take off on gay, split on rights, pray for everybody at the World Cup, and we'll see you on Friday. Thank you so much for listening.